Hi, everybody. Let's get things rolling. My name is Madeline. Hello. Welcome to the Energy Storage webinar of August. Today, we're going to be talking about why people might be hesitant to incorporate storage. Solar has been around in the United States for a long time, but people are still feeling like batteries are on the newer side of things. So I want to spend a few minutes diving into how to bring up storage in your pitch on a regular basis and understand kind of the state of storage today and how prevalent it is already becoming now and where it's going to be in the not so distant future. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then I want to talk about a couple newer large scale storage that you may not be as familiar with, and introduce kind of storage as it's replacing utility scale alternative generation, and then dive into some financing options because oftentimes people think that batteries are not as attainable because they're expensive, but I don't want that to be the biggest hurdle. And then we'll do a little bit of review on some frequently asked questions about reasons why storage may not seem right for you at this time. But I will talk about why I think that storage is right for you today. Again, hello, my name is Madeline, and I have been working in the solar plus storage space since 2016. And it's really such a dynamic part of the industry, looking at all of the new offerings, particularly for grid tie battery backup solutions. There really is something for everybody. And my goal is to help installers, help homeowners, really help anyone affiliated with this solar industry understand the role that storage has and understand that it's really not so scary. It's really not so complicated. If you break it down into simple terms, incorporating a battery doesn't have to be harder than adding solar to a home. So I want to make this accessible by staying in touch with manufacturing partners and making sure that out of the different offerings Soligent provides, we find the one that's exactly right for your project. A newer utility scale storage project has recently, this past July, so a couple weeks ago, come into effect. And it's in Oxnard, California. The project's called the Satakoy Energy Storage Project. And the success of this project being installed instead of a gas plant really was due to a lot of efforts from locals rallying around the environment and the community saying storage is right for us, a gas plant is not. And SCE listened. So this project was developed, and it's one of the largest storage projects at this time that's been up and running. So 400 megawatt hours can power approximately 80,000 of the local homes and businesses for 4 hours, which is really, really remarkable. Although it can provide backup solutions, the intention of the regular usage for this site is shifting the peak. So it's enabling, if you look at a place like Southern California having a lot of storage, having a lot of solar, adding storage can help smooth the demand curve as you go from the high noon time where there may be a lot of solar production but less loads on to the evening when loads start to turn on and the sun starts to set. Storage really adds a lot of value during that time. So these batteries are going to benefit the grid, help stabilize grid frequency. There are so many grid services these batteries will provide, as well as peak shifting. So this is a really exciting project that I encourage you to read more about. So if we shift gears to Hawaii, Hawaii is another really good example of a place that has hit the ground running with storage and is seeing a lot of successes with it. So Hawaii was the first state in the US to adopt a 100% renewable target. And in order to achieve this goal by 2045, there definitely have to be some major shifts from the existing fossil fuels. And how is this going to happen? So Hawaii is committed to shutting down coal before 2023. And a great way to enable this is the new construction on a 7-acre parcel of land to replace the AES coal plant, specifically called the Kapolei energy storage system. And this is even larger than the Oxnard project. And this is 565 megawatt hours. So the significance and the size of this project is really important for the overall functionality of the grid in Hawaii. And this step that storage is making to provide this energy and power for the grid is really, really noteworthy. And this specifically is in Oahu, I believe. So for this energy storage site, it's actually storage only. So there's no generation. There's no solar power generation here. This is just receiving power from the grid potentially earlier in the day or from other grid sources, and it's storing it for usage either in the night or during higher demand times, etc. So this is just breaking ground and is expected to be active by the end of 2022. So very, very excited for the adoption that we're seeing of storage in Hawaii and in Southern California. If you are operating in a market different from those, why do you want to be talking about storage now? So the International Technology Roadmap for Photovoltaics was a German publication, and we're really seeing that even now in 2021, we're between 5 and 10% of attachment for storage projects worldwide incorporating storage. And the momentum is only going to continue to grow. So if you want to be one of the kind of leaders for your customers, bringing up this as this is current for your customers rather than this is part of the future. Staying ahead of the curve is really important. And if by 2030, this is in half of all installations, there's really no time like the present to get educated on the different options out there, get in touch with your manufacturing partners to support you and support your customers in explaining the value of storage today. Because I was hosting this webinar today, I decided to hop on poweroutage.us, which is one of my favorite websites, to look at a snapshot of the grid today, what's going on. And you can get a good understanding of, in a lot of ways, the weather patterns of what's happening in the United States. So I was familiar with the fire situation in California, but I was less familiar with what's going on the East Coast. Why are North Carolina and West Virginia experiencing such high outages? And I didn't have the answer to that question. So let's dive in a little bit to where these outages are occurring and why. So if we look at California specifically, Northern California is experiencing this Dixie Fire, and the Dixie Fire may cause even 51,000 more homes may need to be shut out from PG&E. So if we look at this outage map, it's mostly Northern California. This is where the 30% of users are experiencing outages, and this is mostly again in PG&E territory. 62,000 of these customers are in PG&E territory. So this is really scary. This fire is really wreaking havoc in Northern California, and it's in an area that was previously affected by fire too. So this just illuminates the need for storage to protect yourself as a homeowner from how might a storm like this affect you, and how can I protect myself against these outages? What I didn't know when I had dug into North Carolina and West Virginia is that Tropical Storm Fred is happening right now. So Tropical Storm Fred is causing massive flooding. And for West Virginia and North Carolina, this is causing outages from Appalachian Power and from Duke Energy. So, you know, there are very few places in the United States that are immune to weather. Bad storms can happen everywhere. So protecting yourself and your home and keeping your solar on during these outages is really an easy solution by adding storage. If money is the issue, we can look at some other solutions on providing financing options to making storage more affordable. Soligent works with Goodleap, Y-Green, SunGage Financial, and Home Run Financing intimately for providing some financing solutions, but homeowners can also kind of get in touch with local credit unions, or depending on what state you're in, potentially taking out a home equity line or getting some financing associated with your mortgage as this is a home improvement, etc. So looking into different financing options can make storage more accessible if money is kind of the significant holdback for why you're not jumping at the idea of adding batteries to your home. Again, if someone is hesitant to adding batteries because they think, well, why would I install now if the prices of batteries are going to keep dropping and dropping? Of course, innovation is continuing to happen. So prices will go down to some extent, but not necessarily at the rate that you're expecting. So as more people install storage, the adoption increases and the economies of scale can grow. So it really is sort of a catch-22 here. The more people install, the more the market can grow and the more kind of the technology can improve and get cheaper. So we are not necessarily in a stage of early adopters anymore. If we look at Simplify Power in this example, Simplify has been installing lithium ferrophosphate batteries since 2010, I want to say. So this battery technology has been around for 10 years. It's been installed across the nation for 10 years. Outback is highlighted with these inverters. Outback has been around for ages. So we know that the technology is sound and it's something that can be providing you benefit today. Every time you kind of wait to add technology based on something that may be in the future, the opportunity cost is still high because you're missing out today. And I want my battery to work for me today. So is new technology on the horizon? There are different sorts of kind of breaking ground battery chemistries, flow batteries or salt ion batteries, etc., that are not necessarily to scale in the market in a residential perspective yet. So I would say keep focusing on what we have now and what we have now and how that can work for you today. It really can allow you to use the solar that you're producing every day and you use it to power your own loads. And this is really valuable. Some people may consider a backup generator. I think if you live exclusively off grid, this is something that you should consider because it's nice to have a backup to your backup, if you will. But for people who are looking for storage to cycle daily, or only want to be protecting part of their home, generators are not necessarily a set it and forget it product. A generator is really just an engine sitting in your backyard. And the engine has to be serviced, and there actually is also a battery associated with the generator to get it started, as well as fuel that you need. So the beauty of the battery is many of the solutions we have are 10-year warranties, and they can start providing you value today. We really have seen so much progress already in the grid tie battery backup market. And things are even going to continue changing. I'm really curious to hear how things happen with the Ford F-150 Lightning that comes out in 2022. So there's a lot to be considering when it comes to storage, but at least to have the conversation with your customer and install a battery ready solution. So say if you want to add a critical load panel down the line, that's fine. You can dedicate, hand-picked circuits and have those backed up later if you want to make this decision a little bit later. But plant the seed today. Make sure you're talking about storage initially with every customer. And if this conversation is still a little daunting or scary, bring in manufacturing partners to explain the value to your customers, or reach out to your account managers or myself. The conversation about batteries is really something that's here today and should be had with all of your upcoming projects. So that being said, thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate your time. Feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help with any of your storage related projects. Thanks very much.